Today I don't have much to show because I got a lot done, but not much to show for it. It's one of those days where I did a lot of things and then I kind of like deleted them or threw them out or restarted or whatever. But I will show you one thing I made a change to, and that is in the trash bin. No, wait. The grid sensor. I In the last video you saw that it was in the update that I was doing all this calculating of the score and everything, which is unfortunately rather intensive because it's doing a grid of like, well, in this case it's like a grid of 100 by 100, so it's 1,000 checks that it does. So I thought, all right, well, let's reduce it so that it's not doing 1,000 checks per bin in the scene. So it's only going to happen when the bin is being messed with. And what does being messed with mean? Well, messed with is a bool that is in the trash bin, and messed with gets assigned actually by trash item. So if the trash item, because each trash bin item is connected to that trash bin, and if its rigid body is awake, the not is sleeping, then it's going to tell the trash bin that it is being messed with. And so back to the trash sensor, it'll if it's being messed with even by one piece of trash, then yes, it'll recalculate the score. It'll go through all this stuff, and then boom, it'll change it back to false when it's done, so it's ready for the next frame. So that helps with a little bit of performance, but let me show you what happens when I press play. And oh, actually, I would rather not maximize because I want you to see what it looks like, because I have a little debug thing on the trash itself. So when I knock this over, you're going to see, unfortunately, one thing you're going to see is it's going to start lagging a lot. Yeah, I don't know if you can tell how chunky that is, but yeah. So right now the garbage is showing up as green. That's because they are asleep. And if I move things around, you'll see if they get awakened, and then they'll stop. Oh, that one is stuck to me. There you go. So now it's not calculating. It's not trying to calculate the area anymore. It's going to just go with it until I move something. And yeah, I see. Then I can see it getting all chunky and slow again. So I think, I hate to say this, but I think I need to rethink how the scoring works once again, because it's just not good. Now I haven't like done a build yet to see if it plays fine in a build. I don't know if you know this, but when you play your game within Unity, because there's so much overhead in the editor, the Unity editor, it slows things down and it's not as performant as it would be if you're playing the game as a standalone application. Yeah, I'm not sure, because when you look at it, let's just click on this. When you look at this, I'm just going to turn this on for a second, and turn on gizmos are on. Show gizmos, show grid, and I'll just turn up the opacity on that grid to there. So look at all these cells here, because I'm trying to figure out where. Oh, 100. Yeah, that's way too big. Oh, I changed it to 200. Yeah, when I had it at 100, I was finding that garbage was going farther than that distance, and so if it left this grid, it would stop counting. So I'm like, all right, well, maybe I need to grow the grid bigger. Maybe I could do a thing where it first does like it does in quadrants. Like maybe it's like, oh, okay, I'll do. There's nothing going on in this quadrant, so it'll skip all these ones and it'll just make maybe more like be a little bit more recursive, perhaps. I mean, that could be one way to slow down, to reduce the number of checks that it does. Or maybe it's just the wrong way. Man, it's kind of hard to think about this because, like, do people even care about the score? You know what I mean? Oh, that is another thing I did get done, though, is I did add a few lines of code. Actually, it was just, where is it? Add to score. I did add this one bit right here where it adds the score. Like this I actually took from the old scoring system because it depends on who's playing. So if a challenge is happening, it has to determine whether it's the player or the nemesis or both of them getting the points. But either way, it ends up being, the amount that is passed through is added to the player score, or it's added to both the player, the nemesis, and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, and that is on the score sensor. So again, I'm using all these scriptable variables, which are super helpful. I even use scriptable variables for the colors, so that I can change the color for the UI. So normally it's white, but if the challenge is on, then it changes to blue for the player and orange for the nemesis. Blue and orange because those colors both work for people with color blindness, no matter what kind of color blindness you have. So yeah, that's what I've got. I kind of feel like I wish I had more to show for today, because like I worked hard. I did a lot of things. Like I spent the full day on this, and yet nothing to show. So anyway, if anything, I hope some other indie dev is watching this and they say to themselves, oh, good, I'm not the only one that works really hard and then I have nothing to show for it. I mean, I do have something to show for it, and you probably do too. If you're one of those indie developers, let me know. I'd like to read it in the comments that you too have those days where you work really hard and you feel like you have nothing to show for it, even if that's not true.